Yes, people, what is happening? And welcome back to AN Sports for the Pole Position Pod. We've got the Brazil Grand Prix race review. What a weekend it's been! Ups and downs, twists and turns. You already know the vibes. It's all happening in Formula One right now. It's all going down to the wire. It's the anticlimax. It is the anticlimax Verstappen. You know what I'm trying to say? He literally pulled that off yesterday. But Lando Norris has won 3 races in a row. 3 races in a row, Lando Norris. Or it's 4 in a row. I don't remember what it was. It was 3 in a row or 4 in a row races. He won now. 2 in a
It's
row.
two, but it feels like four in a row because the manner in which he's won. He
You know
has
why
dominated.
bro? Is because of the sprint race. That's why he won that.
Smart man.
So it counts as 3 in a row. But cool. Augustia, welcome back, man. It's been a good week. It's been a really good weekend. It's been a really entertaining weekend. You know what I'm trying to say? It's been a hectic sort of last few days watching Formula One. Qualifying has been dramatic. Sprints has been dramatic. The race has been dramatic itself. The both qualifying has been dramatic. Max Verstappen made a huge comeback as well. But we'll get into that in just a bit. But I guess talk to me, man. How's it been and how's it going on your side?
Yeah, you said it best, Kevin. Lando won. You said he won maybe four races, and I think that some would say that's inaccurate. I actually think that's factual. The way that he's dominated the last two weekends, Kevin, has been unparalleled. The last two weekends of dominance has been the definition of a world champion. Mexico last week, Lando Norris building in the momentum. Everyone is saying Max Verstappen is the odds-on favorite. His teammates still ahead of him in the championship. What does Lando Norris do? He puts his car on pole. He dunks 5, 6, 7 tenths on his teammate who is struggling. And then in the race itself, he wins by over 40 seconds, one of the biggest margins ever in Formula One history. And then this weekend, he is the championship favorite. He is on top. What does he do? Push come to shove. The spotlight is on him. He is the spotlight. Lando tops free practice one. He puts it on pole in the sprint race. He wins the sprint race. He puts it on pole in quali in a very tight qualifying where it was the tightest margin ever in Q3 Formula One history. And then in the race itself, Ekevin, the race, as you said, climax in abundance, action in abundance, except up top, the one thing we knew for sure yesterday was Lando Norris would win. And that's what he did. And he won. So Lando Norris, kudos to you. You aren't just putting your car on pole. You are in pole position for the championship. And Ekevin, I'm going to say one thing. I think you have one hand on the title already.
Already one hand on the title, you think? It's
110%. 100%. Because Ekevin, he has a 24-point gap on Oscar Piastri. That's the equivalent of one race. On Max, it's 49 points with 3 races and a sprint race to go. It will take something astronomical. Lando will have to be shit, and Oscar will have to ascend his level for Lando to lose his role. So at the moment, Lando is in the form of his life mentally, physically, tactically. So everything is fitting for him.
Big up everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to AN Sports. We're 8 subs to 500. Excuse me, 7 subs to 500 as my guy here put in the chat, Renvier. Big up to you, bro.
Pick up Renvier.
Subs to 500. Yeah, big up to you. Let's go, man. We're close. We're getting ever so closer to 500, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We're just about to get there, people. But Augustia, you and I have spoken about Lando Norris so many times, yeah. So many times. How fitting is it to now when McLaren need to win this most once McLaren are literally on the verge of securing that championship? Lando Norris is the guy that seals the championship for the Constructors' Championship 2 years in a row, right? But not only that, is now when he steps up to win the Drivers' Championship. How fitting is it to see the best driver at McLaren go on and seal it? You know, he's like you mentioned, one hand on the title. One hand on the title. When the going gets tough, when you need the points the most, who steps up for you? Lando Norris. Lando Norris is the guy that steps up for McLaren to put one hand on the trophy. One hand on the trophy. Oh yeah, Constructors' Championship, done. That's sealed. But we're talking about the Drivers' Championship here. Oscar Piastri in the last few weeks, I'm sorry, unacceptable. Yeah, I don't care if you're a rookie. I don't care if you're inexperienced, or I don't care if you're new to the game, you're a freshman, whatever it is. Regardless, you should not be in this predicament. You're competing for a Drivers' Championship with your teammate, or against your teammate, should I say. It's you against your teammate against a juggernaut. Because the juggernaut just pulled himself back into the race, although all things aside, he did fall apart this weekend or last weekend. He did have a bit of a rough 2 weeks or 2 races, but it's not over till it's over. However, you've let yourself fall behind the pecking order, and this is not a good look for you. Not a good look for you going into next season, because next season, I highly doubt McLaren are going to be this good next season with the new V6 engines, with new regulations, no DRS. So the race pace will be completely different next year. The tracks will be completely different. The rules are going to be completely different. And you've only gone and blown your chances away to win this championship. You had the lead. You had a 40-point lead, Oscar. 40-point lead, but obviously, what do I know? The best driver in McLaren steps up to win, to potentially win them the race, to potentially win himself the championship, put one hand on the trophy. But that's just my thoughts on Lando Norris. But unless you want anything.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on Oscar Piastri. You say unacceptable, indefensible, whatever it is, heading into the second half of the season, one thing that King says stands out. It's very striking. Remember, King used to constantly make this declaration saying that the odds of Max Verstappen catching to Lando Norris is higher than Lando Norris catching to Oscar Piastri. Like, I mean, do you remember King used to keep on saying the same thing? How Max will catch up to Lando first before Lando catches up to Oscar? I know Renvir, you'll probably remember that in the chat. So that statement is seated in 2 different things. A, the fact that Lando Norris has this notorious label of being a bottle job, a choke artist, a con man in the title scene. But 2, because Oscar Piastri has the composure to win in a rocket ship. But last few weeks, it's been 5 races since Oscar Piastri was last on the podium. And Ekevin, when you said that he blew his chance in the long term, I actually agree with you. I think the difference between Oscar and Lando is we've all said Oscar Piastri mentally is better than Lando Norris, but the pace-wise, Lando has always had the inherent innate talent that is superior to Oscar Piastri, except in the last few weeks. I think he's lost the pace gap because Lando has rediscovered his identity. And mentally, Ekevin, is it too far to say that Lando is better than Oscar? No. Ekevin, I think Lando's mentality is better than Oscar because, like last year, who won McLaren the Constructors' Championship in Abu Dhabi?
Lando.
Who won the Constructors' Championship this year in Baku?
Lando Norris. He won.
And who is stepping up when it matters most in the toughest races and the biggest races? Lando Norris.
Kinder Norris.
Exactly, the Kinderman. So when it comes to blowing his chance, Ekevin, yeah, he has blown his chance. It is a Tottenham bottle job for the Arsenal fan. That's what he's produced.
100%.
And next year, do I think McLaren will have a car that can compete? Even if they do, Ekevin, it's not that they can compete. It's that Mercedes will be there. Mercedes will be there.
They're not going to be better than Aston Martin or Mercedes next year, in my opinion.
Sure, but let's just give them benefit of the doubt for the sake of argument. Let's say they do have a car. Even if they do you think that he'd beat George Russell? I don't.
No.
Do you think he'd beat Kimi? Because I actually don't either.
Kimi stepped it up actually on the weekend. He actually
last 2 weeks he's beaten George Russell.
Kimi almost won the sprint race, bro, and he finished second on the race as well.
The way he defended Max Verstappen was absolutely extraordinary.
Yep. Max Verstappen almost got second from was it 5th, 16th. You know, that is driver of the day right then and there. That is literally the driver of the day. It's not even close. That is driver of the day caliber. Okay, you could maybe at the start you could look at Esteban Ocon. How did he go up 15 places as well? I was like, how the hell did he climb 15 places at Esteban Ocon? But not just Esteban Ocon. Who else? There was obviously you had Fernando Alonso who climbed many places as well. You know what I'm trying to say? It just tells you how. I'm sorry, but the quality. It's not even discredit to Max Verstappen. How he finished from the pit lane to P3 is a mad thing.
From P3. Big up to OC legend. Not just from the pit lane, he also had a puncture in the first opening laps. He had to pit again early on in the race. So not only did he didn't start the race, he had a puncture, so he was a pit stop behind everybody else, and he still finished above Oscar Piastri. Like, that is unfathomable.
The fact that he was even on top, of the race. the fact that he was first place at one point in this race just goes to show that this guy really has it in him to still be within a shot for the championship. Like, even if Max Verstappen does not have one hand of the trophy that Lando Norris does, I still think Max Verstappen is not out of it fully. We got to see the next 3 races. We got Vegas next, we got Qatar, and we've got Abu Dhabi. These are the final 3 races of the year. These are probably the biggest 3 races of Lando Norris's career, Oscar Piastri's career, and Max Verstappen's life. Let's just be honest, Max Verstappen, every single year gets bigger for him because he's got 4 world championships now. 4 world championships. How close is he to being to getting very, very close to Fernando Alonso? He's 2 championships behind, right? If I'm not mistaken, or is he level with Fernando?
He's actually 2 championships ahead of Fernando Alonso.
Already 2. Oh, so he's got more than Vettel, got more than Norris. Sorry, Norris.
He does have more than Norris. He has 3 more than Lando.
Norris will win the race.
Exactly. So yeah, he has 3 more than Lando. He has 2 more than Alonso. He's tied with Vettel, and he's 3 behind Hamilton and Schumacher.
Yeah.
So it
just tells you everything you need to know. That Max Verstappen, he's still got that dog even in him, even if he's not even his car is not the fastest this year.
No.
He maximized. No pun intended.
100%, I agree with you, but he doesn't have the dog in him. He is the dog. Ekevin, he is the dog. Max Verstappen is the dog of the grid. It is not men against boys. It is gods against mortals. That's what it is. The way Max, I think, made 10, 15 places in the opening 10 to 15 laps is extraterrestrial. It was so effortless. It was extraordinary. And it was inevitable. We all expected it, even though he didn't have the fastest car. Sure, Red Bull tweaked the setup up. His car was definitely quicker than it was in qualifying. But only he can do that. Ekevin, he is the only driver on the grid that can produce that much gains in that much distance and that much time. So, yes, Lando Norris is the world champion this year. And yes, he will be a very worthy world championship with the renaissance he's had mentally. But there is no doubt, there is no denying that Max Verstappen is by far head and shoulders the king of this grid, head and shoulders the best driver on this grid. And I will say this again, I said this at the beginning of the season, and I think, Ekevin, my statement stands stronger than ever. The gap between the best and the rest has never been this big. Max, by far the best driver. You can make the case him and Shohei Ohtani are probably the 2 best athletes in the whole world right now. That's how far I'd go.
Oh,
because obviously you saw what Shohei Ohtani did in the playoffs. He had a Wilt Chamberlain game.
Shohei Ohtani this year, last year as well, but did it consecutive years back to back.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen.
I mean, Ekevin, Shohei had 10 strikeouts and 3 homers in the same game.
Yeah.
To put that into context, that's like winning from the back of the grid, 3 races in a row.
Let's give credit to Drake May as well, by the way.
Can do
that.
But sorry, continue. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Ekevin. What Max did was magical. He maximized it. Ekevin, as you said, he maximized it.
Pace.
And yes, I think only he could do that today. Everyone else was just they're not in his league. They're not in his universe.
Dang.
And if he gets the car next season, if he gets a car that's within 2 to 3 tenths of the best car, he'll win the championship. I'm so certain of it.
For sure. And the yellow flag at the start of the race. What was it on?
The Oscar Piastri incident.
He crashed out, didn't he?
No. So Oscar Piastri, right after this.
Hit him. I remember that.
So first Bortoleto, he crashed into the wall. I think it was a very unfortunate incident. So the hometown hero out in the sprint race, out in the main race, and then after the safety car went away, right on the main straight, Ekevin, heading into turn 1, there were 3 cars neck to neck. There was Oscar Piastri, there was George Russell, and there was Charles Leclerc. So in Ayrton Senna, to live out the Brazilian legend Ayrton Senna's words, if there is a gap and you no longer go for it, you are no longer a racing driver. So Oscar Piastri went for the gap, but unfortunately he locked up. He hit Kimi Antonelli, who collided into Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc was out of the race. So Oscar Piastri was given a 10-second time penalty because of that, which, Ekevin, I don't know about you, I think was very fair.
No, I think it was fair. I just think the 10-second penalty was, yeah, it was the right move. I'll be honest with you. I think Oscar Piastri was dangerous, but at the same time, you just you can only fault him for that. He got Charles Leclerc out of the race.
Yeah.
That was reckless from Oscar Piastri. I think his head's gone, bro. I think this is not. I think that right there tells you his head's gone, because those accidents just tell you that there's a loss of confidence. It says, oh, I had to knock this guy out of the race in order for myself to strive. It's pretty much that way. It's pretty much looking that way. This guy is trying to eliminate other drivers so he can bypass certain others easily. He's not been doing that in recent races. That's why he had to do what he did, and hence why the 10-second penalty is fair. But I don't know if that's just my theory. I think he just I think he's
No,
got.
I agree with you. To me, Oscar Piastri looks like a kid who's gone through his mock exams and he's finally at the final exams now. And he looks at that paper and he's like, holy shit, I did not prepare for my final exams. I aced my mock exams, Ekavin. Now my final exams are here. I don't have the answers. That's exactly what Oscar Piastri looks like. It's like the mock times, oh yeah, they were easy, weren't as good. The gears weren't turned up. Finally, you have Lando Norris in the pomp of his powers, Max Verstappen driving like he is God himself. And then you have me, it's like, I'm not ready for this. And it was reckless. And even if the intention wasn't to hurt Kimi Antonelli or Charles Leclerc, the impact of costing Charles Leclerc his entire race, that and that alone warrants a 10-second time penalty.
No, I agree. It definitely was. It definitely warrants a 10-second penalty, because it was very reckless as well in terms of the way he did and the corner as well. Because don't forget, it was the first second turn, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the first turn right after the safety car.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
right then and there, the accident happened,
Mm-hmm.
and downhill. The race kind of went downhill because that's where Lando said, "All right, this is my race now. Oscar's a 10-second penalty. Kimi's not faster than me. Max is way behind. Lando had it in the bag. It was dominant by Lando Norris. Easily won by Lando Norris. Lando Norris had no competition whatsoever, in my opinion. I just think Max Verstappen would. Yes, he's in a league of his own, like mentally, and status of the status of who he is. But when we're just talking about purely this race, Lando Norris was in a league of his own.
Yeah.
If we're just happened. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was saying, I think Max had the best performance, but Lando had the best result. That's how you differentiate it. And I'd say this all for the first time in a long time, all three podium finishers, they'll be happy with where they finished on the podium, and all of them deserve to be where they were.
For sure. I mean, obviously, I gave two predictions. I think I said if it was intermediate, I said Lewis Hamilton will climb up to the podium because it's Lewis Hamilton. Intermediate tires is his go-to tire, and he's shown it in recent times where there was a rain yesterday. Safety car out, visibility ahead will not be easy. So, in my opinion, they might as well red flag the race. But luckily, nothing happened this weekend. We were all told it was going to be rain. We were all told the weather was going to be bad. Luckily, that did not. Yes, there was rain, but luckily that did not impact the overall outcome of the race, the overall outcome of the qualifiers, over the overall outcome of the sprints as well. Because look, in my opinion, I still think Lando Norris would have won regardless of what the conditions were. He was the fastest car this weekend. It's not even close. But the Mercedes look good, man. This weekend, they look really fast as well. Obviously, Kimi Antonelli in the last couple of races has actually stepped it up. He's actually looked like he's found some rhythm in the last two races. Because when we were talking about the last three races, the last 5 to 6 races ago, we were talking about Kimi Antonelli's downfall. Remember when we had such a good start to the season, and I was talking about Rookie of the Year shouts. But how funny is it to see Isaac Hadjar and the Racing Bulls, right, finish above Red Bull, the sister car, finishing above Red Bull. Me and King spoke about this on the preview yesterday. How embarrassing is it as Red Bull to see your sister car finish above you in the standings or finish above you in the qualifying? Like it's an actual joke. Like both Yuki and Max out in Q1, but for Max Verstappen to do what he did yesterday, that is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen from a driver since Lewis Hamilton, from 20th to first in 2021 by a distance. That is up there with one of the greatest because you're in a shot for a champion. You're within a shot for a championship. The last time Max Verstappen finished outside Q1 or in Q1 was 2021. We're talking about this guy who's won 4 races in a row, 4 championships in a row since that year. We're talking about alone 4 years in a row, 4 seasons in a row. My guy's won 4 championships. Yeah, since that Q1 exit in qualifying.
And Egeven, it's not just that, not just 4 championships, the most dominant season ever.
Literally.
He won all but 2 Grand Prix in 2023. In 2022, Red Bull won basically every Grand Prix bar 1. I mean, he's breaking every record. The highest percentage of race wins, highest percentage of podiums in a single season. That's Max Verstappen.
And obviously you and I spoke about this last season. Yeah. You said that last year was Max Verstappen's best ever win as a driver. I 100% agree, because even if he wasn't winning races, he still managed to clutch up with the points and still managed to steal that championship. Because when Lando Norris was picking up form, Max finished in the points every single race, and he got the points when he needed it most. Forget winning the races. He needed the points. All he needed was just to get into the top 10. I said Max Verstappen this week, his aim is to finish in the top 10. I didn't even talk about podium. Forget podium. I was just talking about Max needs to climb into the top 10 because you had traffic right in front. You had traffic right in front. You had traffic in front. You had Fernando Alonso. You had Lewis Hamilton. You had who else was in front of him?
You had King. King came on at the same time.
Oh yeah. You had what's his name again? Was it Lance Stroll? Was it Lance Stroll that was above him? I forgot.
What stage of the race?
In the qualifying because Max finished behind. Oh, Carlos Sainz.
Oh, everyone.
He finished behind Carlos Sainz. So, no, I'm trying to say that the traffic in front of him after Q1, the drivers that finished above him in front of Q1, because Fernando Alonso was going to make it hard for him to get past him. We all know how good Fernando Alonso is defensively when he's up against Max, when he's up against like drivers like Charles Leclerc, who we saw in the sprint race, that he was able to defend himself for a long period of time up until when the yellow flag happened. He wasn't able to defend himself so he was able to defend himself against Lewis Hamilton. In that sense, he managed to hold off Leclerc for about 5 laps when it was 0.5 under 0.5. He managed to hold Leclerc off for like 5 laps. So I can just tell you right now that was going to be difficult. But Max overcame such a huge I'd say it's crazy for me to say it, but this was an upset because nobody, me and King never spoke about Max Verstappen finishing in the top 3. Me and King never even mentioned Max Verstappen finishing in the top 3. When me and King did the preview yesterday, King, we didn't even mention Max in the top 3, did we? We didn't even mention a single word about it. But
but I didn't expect both the Ferraris to get kicked out. I didn't expect because when it's a dry race, I didn't expect there to be big up to everyone inside, big up to Fosi, big up the man. The thing about Max's races, he did what I said to do at the start, which start from the pit lane, so he avoided any problems in the first lap, any controversy there. And I think for the most part, it wasn't difficult because most people just let him through. I think most drivers at this point in the season realize that you're not racing Max Verstappen, so you're better off just getting out of his way rather than wasting your tire life by competing with him. Because in these last couple races, tire life is so important, and it was gonna be people thought it was gonna be a 1-stop race, but it turned out to be a 2-stop race. For some.
For Max 3.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing we have to talk about, because I think he wins the race if he doesn't do the 3rd stop. But
agreed. I said that to Auguste on chat yesterday.
But I think he does have a possibility because you can defend. It's better to defend rather than to attack in Sao Paulo. But for me, I feel like for most of the part, until he got up to the Mercedes, I think, and because obviously the 2 Ferraris were pretty much out from the beginning, because Hamilton was a dead man running. Charles Leclerc got taken out. Pretty much the only cars that were quicker than him were the two McLarens and the two Mercedes. So by the time he got to around 6th place, everything before that was food for him. And I think a lot of them, because they're fighting their own race and they're actually fighting for points, they just got out of his way rather than waste their entire life and compete with him. So up until that point, I think as impressive as his drive was, I think it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. And then up and after that, it was just Max being Max. I think obviously a couple more laps he probably gets P2. Maybe even if he doesn't pit stops, he gets P1 or even at least minimum P2. So even if Lando still passes him in the race if he doesn't do the extra pit stop, I think that because that loses him an extra 16 seconds. So at least it gives him time to maybe even fight Lando a bit. Because if your car is similar in terms of pace, you need a lot of overspeed in order to be able to pass someone, and you also need them to be willing to let you go by. Because if they defend, more likely in Brazil as well, it's, just like Alonso showed, even in a weaker car than a Ferrari, he was able to stop Charles in the sprint race. So I think a little strategy error from Red Bull. Outside of that, very impressive from Max. Congratulations to Lando Norris as well. He's pretty much put himself in the driver's seat for that drivers' championship, and I think barring him having any DNFs, I think he's pretty much won it. So he's proven me wrong, which respectfully, I can be wrong. I'm not Mr. Right all the time. I still think he's probably the worst world champion we've seen in our lifetime. Personally, and I still don't consider him a top 5 driver of today. So I would say that for the first time, I think a car and a team has led a driver to a championship rather than the other way around. Outside of that, I would say shout out to Kimi as well, because it's very impressive with the couple bad week. There's been a couple bad weekends in between, but I think he for the first time in the race weekend, he was better than George comfortably. In a long time, and it was interesting to see that for a whole weekend that Kimi was the better driver in Mercedes, which was new to me. Big up to the Racing Bulls for getting double points. Big up to Behrman for getting 6th. Nico got 9th, and then Pierre Gasly getting another point as well. Meaning that Alpine went from the great 21 points to 22 points. So and 10th to 10th. So that 1 point from Gasly was a big difference for them in their championship race to stay on the bottom. But big weekend Racing Bulls for the Racing Bulls as well, because they now got a 10-point gap at 6th. Haas has closed the gap to Aston Martin as well, so the race for 6th in terms of constructors is very interesting. And in terms of the race for 2nd place in constructors, I think Mercedes has put their foot down on that one, with both their drivers finishing in the top 5 and one of them in the podium as well. Terrible weekend for Ferrari. There should have been more action towards it, because I think both cars got taken out disgustingly. But their FIA don't do their job anyway, so run their FIA. Those are my words, not the words of AN Sports. But
I think AN Sports endorses that message.
None of what King said has any affiliation with AN Sports. Has all affiliations with African King Academy. So if you guys want to go hear all the talk, subscribe to his channel. The links are in the description of the video. Both of his channels are in the description of the video.
Yeah,
let's get King 200 subs. Big up to 170, by the way, bro. And let's get to 200 subs.
Thank you. But yeah, a brilliant. But in all honesty, a brilliant race from Lando Norris. Great win, great race from Max. I think those two were the outstanding drivers of the day. And outside of Kimi, and yeah, man, what a weekend! I think we've learned a lot from this weekend. I think, and also what else? Oscar Piastri, you're soft, and that's it.
I think the 10-second penalty was fair, King. I'll be honest with you, bro. I think it was reckless what Oscar Piastri did. I think it was dangerous.
He should go more than 10 seconds, to be honest, for me.
I agree. It should be. I think 10 seconds. I think 10 seconds was okay for the time being. It didn't play a factor into what into the outcome of the race, because obviously he wasn't going to win the race anyways. 10 seconds was fair, but then again, you're right. If there was intention to do it, because in my opinion, I said to Agassi before you hopped on the show, I said that mentally his head's gone. I think Oscar Piastri's head's gone. Maybe that's why he's trying to take drivers out just for the sake of it. He's lost it. He's lost his cool. He's
no. He tried. He went for a gap, but it was a gap that wasn't really there. Obviously, you know the quote: "If you don't go for a gap, you're not an F1 driver."
I hate to be the guy. I used that right before you came on.
Oh yeah.
Like.
So you know that quote, but yeah, it was a bit. He went. Sometimes you just gotta be a bit smart when you're trying to go for a gap, especially because of him. Because actually, that 10-second penalty did cost him the race win. Because I think even though I don't think he was ever better than second place at least minimum. It cost him second place.
No, can I jump in real quick? I'll play devil's advocate. I think 10 seconds makes sense simply because the intent wasn't malicious. It was just a lockup, and the impact of it was casualty for Charles Leclerc, but the intent wasn't malicious. So I think 10 seconds makes sense because that does sabotage and jeopardize his race. But if there was impact, then yeah, the penalty should be definitely more deadly.
I hear you.
Well, it was a Constantino effect because he hit the Mercedes, and then the Mercedes hit Charles.
But he was the source. He was the source.
He was the source of the pain.
Yeah.
But Mercedes looked hella fast this week, didn't they, King? Obviously, me and you spoke about this on the preview show yesterday. That Kimi, George Russell looked one of the fastest cars aside from the McLaren.
Kimi looked fast. George looked slow compared to his usual self, which is, as I said, this weekend is an outlier. I don't know if Kimi has come into his own towards the end of the season, or George was just having a bad weekend.
No, King, if I'm not mistaken, I think, yes, Kimi, two things can be true. Kimi was having a very good weekend, but George was also struggling with a rear issue. So George has some technical issues throughout the race.
Okay. Because normally George would have been up there, or he's normally quicker than Kimi on most weekends. So it was a bit strange, because then I think if George was on it in terms of regular race pace, I think he could have won that race just because of how quick the Mercedes was.
Tifosi said this a bit earlier. Leclerc said it was 50-50 and both should have got penalised. Thoughts on that?
No, it wasn't 50-50.
I don't know how anyone but Oscar can be blamed for that.
Yeah.
Kimi was second-hand
contact. George Russell, because George Russell was the one that got hit by Oscar Piastri.
I mean, it was Kimi.
No, it was Kimi.
It was Kimi. Sorry.
I don't know, but
it was
George Russell.
It wasn't Kimi's fault either. As I said, Oscar went for a gap. He should have just let it go.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. I think between them two, who do you bet to finish above each? Who do you bet to finish above one another? I'm saying Oscar finishes above Kimi, even if Oscar lets Kimi through. I think Oscar would finish above Kimi, because then again, he's the faster driver. His car is the faster car. I know.
Yeah. He should have let it go, because you let it go early on, just because. Usually, if you let it go early on, then you can catch them on later. Yeah, and especially with McLaren being the quickest car out there, there was no need. Listen, as a driver, you go for the gap. I understand it, but this is probably the difference between him and maybe like a older driver, maybe a Lewis or an Alonso. They won't go for that gap nowadays because they understand that it's a long race, rather than I don't need to catch him now. I can catch him later because I know on a lap to lap basis I'll be quicker. But maybe you're right. Maybe Oscar has lost his head a little. Maybe he's become the one that's been fragile, and it makes sense. It makes sense because you went from top of the world to second you went from believing that your team was behind you when by your team showing you that they're not behind you, that they're behind the other driver. So both on a mental standpoint, you know your team ain't behind you because they're behind the other driver. You've lost all your leadership, your leading points up until this weekend. You've been poor for multiple weekends in a row. You weren't good in the sprint. Did he crashed out in the sprint as well? He crashed out in the sprint. He crashed out in the sprint as well on his own volition. So he made a mistake on the sprint, lost 8 points to Lando in that race. So he probably thought to himself that he needed to do something drastic in order for him to get back into the shout. He needed to win the race, and maybe he thought, okay, if I do this, this could be the move that wins me the race. And when you're thinking like that as a driver and you're not thinking clearly, then yeah, then it is what it is.
I mean, there was a bit of space there which Kimi could have used and given Piastri a bit more space to lunge. That's also true.
No, you don't do that because it was Kimi's corner. He's the car head. If Kimi and Oscar were side by side, that would have been sure. You move along. Always leave the space, like Alonso said. But it was his corner.
Also, I would add the fact that King, it ties into your point on Verstappen. Had he not had that third pit stop, you both believe he would have won the race. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword to the extent. Yes, track position in Formula One is so important, but Interlagos, especially last night, one of the easier tracks to overtake with. So if you have the pace of the car, and Lando Norris was cutting in a second every single lap to Max Verstappen, so was Kimi Antonelli as well. I think the best Max could have got if he didn't pit was P3, P4, P5. Whereas if he tried the pit stop, he's on fresher tires. He has the better delta, the better tire offset as well. So I think either way, he took the high risk and he got the same reward as if he didn't pit. So I don't think the pit stop necessarily disrupted his race. And when it comes to this Piastri thing, Piastri struggled. The fact that he couldn't overtake a George Russell whose machinery was impaired, that is quite telling in itself. So I don't even know if Piastri would have been on the front row had he not had that incident. So yeah, something is up with Oscar Piastri. It's just actually, as I said, it's not that something is up with him. It's Lando is in the pomp of his powers. Because we've all known Lando is the quicker driver. On pure pace, Lando has been the better driver throughout their careers. The difference is mentally. And Lando mentally has found a monstrous level of that. And Verstappen's just in the race as well. So Oscar's just getting put out of his depth.
Yeah, I think Oscar would have been second if he never got the penalty, because the penalty plus extra, because it's not just 10 seconds that you lose 10 seconds plus the extra time.
Verstappen had the pace to come back. He bounced back with his pace as well. Obviously, he got lucky with certain mistakes that drivers did make in front of him in terms of like crashes, pit stops, and obviously the start of the race kind of played a factor. Because of the crash, he was then able to go and make a pit stop, and then he himself had he himself had the advantage over other drivers to maybe overtake because his tires were fresher. He decided to change.
No, I don't think the last pit stop was a right decision for me. Because even himself would struggle to get past George towards the end there, and even he struggled to get past Kimi towards the end there. Because I don't think this year has been good, or even in Interlagos has been good for overtaking. I think overtaking needs half a minute overspeed of the driver ahead of you, and you also need for that driver to kind of move out the way. That's what most drivers did for Max. They moved out the way because they knew, I'm not trying to crash here. I'm just focused on my race. My tires are kind of short anyway. Just let him go. He has the overspeed. That's why I think that's why I think Max should have stayed out, because it's easier to defend in Interlagos than to overtake for me, just because of the way the modern day regulations are. DRS doesn't do enough. All he needed to do was just to keep it within 0.7 of a second, 0.6, and just defend. And if he did that for a couple laps, I think he could have done that. And then it would have.
He was
what you could have done, because Kimi even was getting close to Norris. You could have used Kimi as a deterrent to Norris, and even maybe slow it down to the point where Kimi catches up to Norris, and maybe Kimi tries to overtake Norris, and then them race each other, which gives you a little gap as well. So you could have been very. It could have been, and I think Verstappen has the intelligence and the nous to do that, to use other drivers in order for him to win. So that there was other aspects of it that I think Verstappen could have used, and those 10 seconds that Oscar got also lost him the potential of winning that race, but because it's not just 10 seconds you lose more than 10 seconds because you're stationary for so long in a pit stop. When other drivers are going, you're losing more than the 10 seconds. It's not just the 10, it's 10 plus, and he was only 15 seconds behind. So he could have been there or thereabouts, and it would have made maybe the ending a bit more interesting in that sense, in terms of what maybe Max's decision making would have been if Oscar was a factor as well, because that would have been another driver that you could have used as a pawn in order for him to race with his own teammate, considering that they've had issues in the past and that it's not a very friendly environment over there in McLaren at the moment. But that's not here nor there. In the end of the day, Lando won, and I think he's going to become the world champion, and congratulations to him.
Yeah, and again, I respect that, and that makes a lot of sense. That's very logical. But King, you said you need half a second to overtake someone, right? That's what you said, right?
Yeah, over speed. Like, you need to be a lot quicker than them, and
Okay.
also because if you saw in Interlagos, the way that Max was overtaking was he's quicker. He had quicker tires, which was cool, but they were getting out the way. They weren't vehemently defending him. They weren't because. Because they were focused on their own races, and that's a lot of the mentality that you have towards this part of the season. Because, for example, let's say the racing bulls are just going to let him go by because they're trying to get points for their position. Same with the Haas and stuff like that.
Yeah, hold on. Can I just cut?
It's okay, bro.
And so yeah, exactly what Tifosi is saying here. Lando Norris was gaining over a lap on Max, so he would have 100% got past him, and he would have stormed past him. The Mercedes were also gaining more than your offset of 0.5 a second. So even if he didn't pit, based on the math, and as Tifosi is saying, he would have actually lost more time, and he would have ended up not fighting for second place, but he would have been hanging on to third in a best case scenario if he didn't pit. So his tires were older. They were on newer tires. The delta was too much. So I think Red Bull had to pit. And I think it was the right decision. But either way, whatever it is, as you said, King, Lando, he is the heavy favorite for the championship, and he has one hand on that title. And Max Verstappen still drove a magical race.
Yeah, I don't think he has one hand on it. I think Lando's won it. I don't see anyone catching him. He needs to have a DNF in order for him to lose.
Which is why I say one hand on the title, because until he's officially done it, I'm not going to inaugurate him yet.
Yeah. But hopefully one of those races he gets a DNF.
You on your own on that one, Akavin. I think we're on the Lando train over Oscar, right?
I think Lando is the better driver still, King. I'll be honest with you, bro.
Comfortably.
Much as we've given Oscar his praises at the start of the season for his race wins.
No, actually, I'll let you finish.
No, I was just gonna say at the start of the year, Lando Norris has done just about enough to finish above Oscar. Obviously, you can maybe say team error, team support, whatnot. The engineers had a factor in Oscar Piastri's recent downfall, but that's also on him, because at the end of the day, yes, the engineers are helping you, but it's also on you to sort of limit. Sorry. How do you say this word? I can't really fathom.
It's also on you to mitigate the circumstances you're in.
Yeah, he's made errors himself. He crashed out when he wasn't supposed to crash out. Baku. What happened in Baku? You know what I'm trying to say? He needed to win that race in Baku. What happened? He crashed out. That's a race. If he wins that race, or if he finishes above Lando, he's still above Lando in the standings right now, or at least within a single point or two above Lando. Because, like I said, right now the points matter for everyone. Points matter for them too. It's at this rate, bro. You cannot afford to drop points. When the going gets tough, Who's been that driver that stepped up for McLaren? Lando Norris. When they won the constructors last year, Lando Norris was the guy. When they won the constructors this year, Lando Norris was the guy to seal the constructors championship for them. Now, who is the one that's mentally stepped it up and said he's taken advantage. He's taken responsibility for his own for his own actions. He's taking responsibility for his own mistakes. He's owned up to it. He said, all right, I'm going to turn it around for myself. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to worry about Max Verstappen. I'm worried about myself. When the mentality has shifted, who's been that driver that's stepped it up in recent races? He's won 3 in a row, by the way, King. 3 races in a row. We're talking sprint races as well because the points count. 3 races in a row, he's won. This is what you need to do when you're in a title fight. Cool. Oscar Piastri's been above him for the majority of the season. No problem. I completely understand that. That's and rightly so. Oscar Piastri Lando Norris didn't have a good start to the season. He had a bad half of the season. The second half of the season, we've seen the best of him at majority of the times. Yes, Max Verstappen has won the recent races as well, but Lando Norris was the guy that was behind him when Oscar Piastri was. He took advantage of Oscar Piastri's mistakes. He then nullified Oscar Piastri's errors, and he took it to himself. He took that by himself. He took the races by himself. He said that I know my English is really I'm trying to explain it in my own way possible, but he's trying to limit he's trying to limit his own damage limitations. And
Yeah.
he's done that. He's done all that, bro. He's done everything he needs to do, and now he's ahead in the championship. Now, and Augusta said one hand. And
the biggest, I come in to add on to what you said. The biggest difference for Lando Norris is he has accepted accountability. He has reciprocated responsibility. He has abandoned the partisan divide. He's no longer playing to this inter-McLaren battle. He's shutting out his critics, and he has one aim. He's not looking back. He's not looking at Max. He's not looking at his teammate. He's looking ahead. He's looking at the championship. That's all he's looking at. And look, even after he wins the races, have you guys seen his demeanor when he wins races? Instead of being jovial and jubilant, he's calm. He's like, cool, we won a race, but the championship's our target. Earlier in the season, Ekavin and King, if Lando Norris won a race, he'd be celebrating like he won the Oscars, the Nobel Peace Prize, like he won the Premier League title. Today, he's stoic.
Pun intended. He said,
Perhaps. I'm glad you got on that one. But yeah, exactly. So he's celebrating like he's stoic. Today he's stoic. And he's stoic until he succeeds. So that is like a recipe for success for Lando Norris. And kudos to him. Mentally wise, he has title-winning mentality. And it's King, I'm going to go one step further. I know you're going to push back on me. But I think mentally wise, he has the mentality of a championship-winning driver. Something that I think only Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton can say on this grid. I think I'm happy to put Lando Norris as 4th on that category among active drivers because these last 2 races, what he has shown is he is worthy of being a world champion. Of course, that also means that throughout the season, the car has obviously been the biggest factor as well. It has helped elevate him when he has not been there. But recently, he has validated and vindicated that world championship mantle. And I think the pace has been there. The pace has not been the issue. The issue has been the mindset. And Lando, mindset-wise, is the man. Kudos to him.
He took up the mantle.
Yes.
And he took responsibility for all of McLaren's, not mistakes, but he took responsibility for McLaren's successes this season. Yes, Oscar Piastri has done bits to help with the points, with the constructors as well. Fair enough. First half of the season, all on Oscar Piastri. Second half of the season, when it mattered most, when the going gets tough, when the points are tight, when the title's going down to the wire, there's only one man that stepped it up. It's Lando Norris.
Oh no. The one man that stepped up was Zach Brown and backing his boy Lando Norris. That's what happened. Conspiracy theory alert. Yeah, this is the real. This is the truth. Tell old book. Oscar Piastri soon come out. Yeah, his team let him down. His team disrespected him. His team allowed Lando Norris to crash him out. Yeah, his team allowed him to do all that. Yeah, that's right. We ain't on the Lando Norris train. What kind of waffle sesh was this? Oh, he's a great driver. Oh, he's top 5 in the grid. He ain't even top 10. He's bottom 10. Yeah, if it wasn't for that McLaren car and it helping him, chug along in that first half of the season, he wouldn't have been anywhere near Oscar Piastri. And Piastri should have been the world champion, but he's soft too. Yeah, and you know what? He's lucky that that Max Verstappen is in a tractor, because if Max Verstappen was even in a Ferrari or a Mercedes, he would have wiped the floor with that Lando Norris. Yeah, because that's a real champion, and I don't even like Max. I don't even like Max. Yeah, stop with this waffle shit. He is the worst drivers champion I've ever seen in my life. The worst. I saw Kimi better than him. I saw Max. Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, real champions. This guy's a bum. He's a scrub. What, one world title, and I'm supposed to magically, praise Lando Norris? Never. To the end of time. ABN settings, anybody but Norris. Yeah, and when he wins the title, it's the McLaren title. I'm not going to even acknowledge him. Acknowledge your tribal chief, Max Verstappen.
Hold on, one second. DiCaprio.
Can I ask a quick question? Do you rate Jensen Button then?
Yes, Jensen Button is a better driver than Lando Norris. But they're both the second, both the last two, because they're British drivers. They're both as bad as each other.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, are you watching? Because your roles right now are under threat. Right over there, Mr. Oscar-winning performance right there. I said Lando Norris should take the Oscar.
Oscar
I think he's the
guy. No, but
Oscar.
In all seriousness, I like, as a driver, I don't think he's a top 5 driver. That's just me, my personal opinion. Opinions, your opinions. It is what it is. But mentality-wise, he's shown me up in terms of Lando Norris. I do believe you're correct. In the last couple of races, he's shown a mentality to not only overcome a multiple world champion in Max, but overcome his own teammate and the team politics that was around.
Mistakes.
And the one thing he didn't do, which Oscar did, is he didn't make mistakes. Usually, Lando makes mistakes, but last couple races, especially last 2-3 races, he hasn't been making mistakes. The second part of the season, he hasn't been. And whatever the reason is, Lando Norris has done what is necessary to win the races. As I said, he needed the perfect weekend, and he's earned my respects, to be honest. This was the weekend that's earned it. I think he dominated the whole weekend. I think. And the thing about it is, this is Brazil. This is a racer's race. This is a driver's race. So, as much as that little performance, was performative, it was the character. It was the character that was African King, that the hater of Norris. That wasn't me.
The alter ego.
Alter ego. On personally, I believe that this weekend proved that Norris is a world champion caliber driver, and he proved me wrong. Does he make him better than George or Leclerc? No, I think them two in those positions, I'm thinking them two in the same car will probably beat him, in all honesty. And I just think, I don't know what's happened to Oscar the last couple races. I don't know if it's a mentality issue. Well, it is a mentality issue, because I don't think it's a driver issue. I think his mentality has all gone up in flames, and I don't know if it's because the team hasn't backed him like the way he probably thought he would have been backed. It seems to be a very he seems to be the Mark Webber in the and Lando Norris seems to be the Sebastian Vettel in the situation where he's saying Lando 21, and no one's listening. So I think that's probably going through his head. But also, he made personal mistakes. In the sprint race, he was the one that crashed himself out by going on the white line in wet conditions. That's his fault. Other crashes, he made the mistakes, not the team. So it's been a bit of 50-50 for him, in terms of his mentality and the team letting him down. And on the other hand, Lando locking in, as you said, and proving to the world that he has the ability to be a world champion. But I do believe that if did give even Max a slightly better car, Max would have caught him up eventually. But unfortunately, Lando Norris is going to be a driver champion. And it means that I'm going to take a break for F1 because F1's gone
I
down.
agree with you about the Max Verstappen.
Norris is world champion.
I agree with you about Max Verstappen being able to defend his lead against Lando Norris. I agree with you that the third pit stop shouldn't have happened. I mentioned to Augusta yesterday on chat. I said maybe Max shouldn't have taken the third pit stop because I said he was 7 seconds ahead. Yes, his tires were dying down, but come on, like, he can defend himself on this track. You only have like 2 or 3 overtaking zones, proper overtaking zones. The way Charles Leclerc overtook Fernando Alonso yesterday was cold. The way Charles Leclerc, I'm talking about the sprint race, by the way, when he did it. The way he overtook Fernando Alonso was cold. The way, how do you call it, Verstappen or George, I don't know who overtook one of them. But it was one really cold overtake in one of the turns. Don't remember which one it was, but I think it was George Russell against somebody.
It's very specific, Kevin. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I don't know, but can I add one more thing as well? Not on Norris, but on Max. That was an all-time performance by Max as well. In Brazil, to come from the pit to go to third, and I think if the race was a little bit longer, he would have got second, and maybe even caught up to first. Who knows? I think
it would have been a tall order.
It would have been a tall order, but I believed if he got past Kimi, then it would have been all holds barred because of the speed he was on. Because he would have had free open air, and he wouldn't have been, and it would have only been Lando ahead of him. But yeah, I think all-time performance from Max. Great victory for Lando, and shout out to Kimi as well for getting the P2, having a great weekend as well. What else happened? Oh yeah, and shout out to the Racing Bulls as well. But for once they turned their qualifying into actual race results rather than messing up their drivers.
Fair. I think you're not alone on that one, Tifosi. Most people would agree with you. And you can hear the crowd. The crowds are definitely Lando Norris' biggest critic. Constantly getting booed. He's getting booed like he's Verstappen or Hamilton at the peak of their powers. So
he was getting booed in Brazil.
Yeah, he got even more booed.
Oh yeah. Because to be honest, Brazil fans know real jogadores. He ain't a real jogador when it comes to the driver thing.
Yeah, but most importantly, before we forget, there was something very revelation filled that happened. Did you guys see John Elkann, Ferrari? Did you see his comments today?
Yeah. About him telling them to stop talking and focus on driving.
Basically telling his drivers to stop talking and focus on driving and trust the engine.
Drive.
This is the same Ferrari that had Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel with 6 world championships between them. Yeah. And all of a sudden now Charles and Lewis are the problem for calling the crap.
And you're talking about Leclerc, who's arguably outperformed his car more times than anyone on this grid except Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton, who is the most successful driver ever. In my opinion, and King, you agree with me, the greatest driver of all time as well. You're talking about these two drivers.
Yeah, I'm gonna lie, Ferrari's crazy. Ferrari have been Ferrari have been they're the Man United of the reason why they're the Man United of modern Formula One, because just like the Glazers, the owners of Ferrari aren't willing to change for the betterment of Ferrari. And I think the only way they probably could change is if they bring in someone revolutionary like a Chris Horner that actually would make constant changes to Ferrari, because the last time Ferrari was dominant is when they had big personalities in there that told Ferrari, listen, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. You just pay the money and get out of our way. And that was what Michael Schumacher and what's his name was the leader back then.
Kimi Räikkönen, right?
No, the
Franz Todt.
Yes, Franz Todt and Michael Schumacher just told Ferrari to get out their way and just let them do the things. And I think that's what Ferrari needs. I think Ferrari is sometimes it's too Italian for its own good. You know, a bit too much, passion and desire and Bellissimo and Felicimo and
Same,
all that.
same, you know who I meant. Random man, you know who I meant.
Don't talk. And so for me, I think they need, as great as Fred Vasseur is, I think they need a bit more steel. I think Chris Horner going into Ferrari would probably be the best thing for them, because then at least we would add a revolutionary that would maybe change it up. Maybe you lose Lewis because of that, but who cares? Lewis is old now. He's towards the end of his cycle. He's on his Sebastian Vettel arc, where he's the older driver that's good. Is good to be around, but he's just there just to drive at this point. Like Fernando Alonso, they're just there to drive, to have a good time. If they win, they win.
100%.
If they lose, they lose. But for Charles and for any future Ferrari driver, they need someone in there that is willing to back them and to the end of the earth, like a Horner would, and to tell the Ferrari owners, you need to stop talking because you've been shit for years. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
100% King, and I'll add one more thing. We'll lead the consortium, right? You, me, Ekvin. We'll bring Horner to Ferrari. We'll be the main stakeholders. We'll fund the operation. We'll get Verstappen and Leclerc, the duo. And to those who say Max wouldn't join a team with Leclerc, they're besties. They've been besties since before Formula One. And if you're on Formula One social media, there is a fandom, a fan arc, a fanfare between Leclerc and Verstappen. It's really funny. You should go check it out if you haven't. So Verstappen, Leclerc, Horner, no balls, no full balls, no nonsense. That's a winning formula for Ferrari. They would completely revitalize it. Like Christian Horner is the equivalent of a Jose Mourinho. He will come in and say anything he wants. He will speak truth to power. He will become power. And over time, he will be a scapegoat. He'll probably overstay his tenure, but he will bring you success. He will bring you podiums. And more importantly, he will bring you race victories and race championships. So I think Christian Horner would be the perfect man for Ferrari if you give him the autonomy, if you give him the authority, because he will be ruthless. He will be relentless. And he will also, by the way, he will not just be prioritizing competitiveness. Unlike Jose Mourinho, he will also make sure you maximize your profits and maintain your influence from a commercial aspect. Like Christian Horner is the man that ticks all the boxes for Ferrari, because as John Elkann said, the one statement of truth, the one gospel within his quote, his egregious quote, was trust the pit lane team, trust the engineers. Ferrari does have good engineers. They do have capable engineers. The issue is not building a car. The issue is executing, making those decisive decisions, those decisions of building a car that can win races to win championships. And Chris Horner can make that difference.
Yeah.
That's a clip for sure. I'm gonna clip that. Timestamp.
Yeah.
101.
Yeah, bring the chaos. That's what Ferrari needs. They need a chaos leader. Ferrari need to be the villains again, and that's what they need to be.
Good. They need to be the Joker.
I don't think so. I don't think so, bro. I don't think they'll catch up. I think Lando's got one hand on the title now, as we mentioned already. I don't think we can write Verstappen off. Don't think we can. But then again, mistakes down the final stretch are crucial to what Lando Norris's title aspiration. If Lando makes mistakes, Verstappen pounces. I think the next guy to pounce is Verstappen. He's got to be that one. If Norris makes a mistake in Vegas, Verstappen's the one to pounce. I don't see Piastri bouncing back at the moment. I just think his head's gone. I think he's mentally out of it now. I think without points, he's not out of it yet. But I think mentally he's gone. I'll be honest. I think mentally he's out of it. If we're just talking total points, he's not. Verstappen, like I said, is the one to capitalize if Norris makes a mistake. Verstappen will be the one that bounces back and tries to catch Norris in the next few races. But I don't see Verstappen winning the title anymore. I retract my prediction. I'm going to go Lando Norris to win the championship. I think he's got one hand on the championship now. I think if he wins again, in Vegas and Verstappen comes close in second, then I think it's over.
No. What both Max and Oscar need is a Lando DNF on one of the three races.
That's not going to happen though. Don't see it happening. I'll be honest. Unless
you never know. You never know with Formula One.
They're really bad.
You never know. Also, while Lando Norris, push come to shove, has pushed all the pressure away from him, when you are on the verge of officially clinching a championship, that is a whole different beast. That is a completely different behemoth. No one can prepare you for that. So while I trust Lando Norris to fulfill and follow through, you never know what can happen in that situation. And with Oscar Piastri, I think King, I'm going to use what you did, the concept, except change the names. I think it is more likely that Max Verstappen catches up to Oscar Piastri than Oscar does to Lando. Because I think when you look at Lando and Oscar comparatively, final 3 races, all 3 tracks favor Lando Norris over Oscar Piastri. Mentally, Lando Norris is in a different league to Oscar Piastri. He is far more calm, collected, composed, and conquering. And tactically and strategically and performatively, pace-wise, Lando Norris is also in a different league. So by every single metric, whether it's circuit, whether it's personal performance, whether it's physical and mental state, Lando Norris is far better than Oscar Piastri right now. So I think Oscar's chances are the 3rd likeliest. Verstappen, again, the only way Verstappen wins is if Lando makes those unforced errors. And I think there is a chance where Lando does win the championship before Abu Dhabi. I think he can clinch it in Qatar.
No, he clinches it in Vegas because Vegas is the only place where you can DNF. I think the last 2 races, it's very unlikely that anything's gonna happen. Vegas, because of it being a street race and it being tight corners, that's the most likely track where you can DNF and crash out.
I completely agree with you, King, but I meant officially. I think he officially wins it in Qatar.
Oh yeah. I think he officially wins it by the sprint race in Qatar if he wins.
Let's
Vegas.
just double if Lando Norris and Verstappen pounces in the 2 races, then it's not done.
No. I think it's more likely that Oscar overtakes Lando than Max, just because of the points differential. Like that's the only thing. Because if let's say for example, Lando does crash out in Las Vegas, even though Max would probably want to win Las Vegas, I don't think he has the car to, and it showed in Brazil that he isn't quicker than the Mercedes at the moment or the McLarens. So if he has a bad qualifying again, then that's going to be a problem. And because the Red Bull is such on a fine line and the cars are closer than ever, who knows if he gets past Q1 again or Q2? We'll see. Vegas is very interesting. We'll see.
But
just because I think Max is out of it just because of the points differential. It's 50. He would need both Oscar and Lando we need Lando to get DNF'd in 2 races. I need Oscar to be DNF'd in 1. He'd need them to crash into each other pretty much for him to win now.
Basically, for Max to win, Lando needs to fuck up. That's basically it.
No, they both do. They both do. Because he would also need Oscar to drop points.
But if you guys were if you guys were a betting man, yeah, and Lando Norris was not in the race, but you got Max versus Oscar, who are you betting on?
Oscar, just because of the car.
I'm going Max because I just think Max was mentally the juggernaut he is. And how far is he behind? Like 22 points behind now?
He's behind Oscar. He is 25 points, and behind Lando he is.
That's 1 DNF for Oscar, and that's tied. The points are tied. Verstappen wins 1 race.
Yeah, but you also went on the fact of Lando DNFing. If Lando DNFs, he ain't catching Lando.
Profit, big up to you, bro. My guy.
He would need multiple DNFs to catch Lando, because the difference between him and Lando is 49. That's 2 races,
bro. Happy birthday, my guy.
Happy birthday, brother.
Unfortunately, United couldn't get the win on Saturday, but hope you have a blessed one. Hope you have a great day, my guy, and always stay.
Oh, he's a United fan. Happy birthday!
Big up Steve, man, from Manchester as well. Big up Steve, bro.
Oh, nice, Manchester in the building. 1-2-1.
Have a good day, man.
Have a great
big
day,
up Liverpool Prophet as well. But Liverpool Prophet, I gotta see you soon. We got things to talk about.
This ambush,
bro. Me and Ross had the Liverpool slander segment on the Red Army Rand public.
Yeah,
so much fun, bro.
At least you're around. That's good.
Any more thoughts on the review? And we're gonna move and we're gonna close out because I do have to go in a bit. I have the Premier League shows soon. But also,
Wait,
Also,
who's on the Premier League show?
It's me, Jack, Josh, and Prophet.
Oh, I'll be watching
You
with.
two, mate. You two,
Wait,
mate.
so all the man that drop points on the weekend are on the same
yeah,
show.
yeah, all them points.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
go
drop,
on, King.
Be in
Go
the comments
exploit that.
saying
drop point show. It's a
yeah,
drop
the
point.
drop point show. Hold that.
Well, to be fair with you, I get one. Me and Arsenal, we get 2 points total, but Liverpool get 0 points. So listen, it's gonna be cool. But anyways, guys, you man, anyone want to add anything before we go? Because I do have to go soon. Any more points? What's your look? What do you look ahead to next race? What's your overall look ahead to next race? Sort of that quick summary of what do you think could happen potentially next race? Because obviously we're going to preview it, and obviously next weekend there's no F1. Going to be the week after, so that's going to be. So we're going to do the preview in 2 weeks. There's no more sprints, yeah. Sprints is done now, or
No, there's one more sprint.
And
Yep, one in Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar sprint. The Qatari sprint, which is going to be pointless. I'm going to lie to you. It's just going to be whoever qualifies on top.
I don't know if it'll be pointless. I think there'll be 8 points for the winner.
I'll be a pointless race. It'll be a boring ass race, man. Like bun Qatar.
Hard to overtake. To be fair with you, he's not wrong there.
No, visit Qatar, but bun Qatar at the same time. A boring ass race.
Sure. But any more anything you want to say about what's your look ahead to next race? Kind of.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some. Obviously, I had a good weekend on the football front, but Formula One let me down. Lando Norris is going to be a world champion. It's a disgrace. Disgracia. I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. The ABN Association, anybody but Norris has been utterly defeated. Congrats to Norris on winning your world championship. And yeah, man, Formula One is in the pits when Lando Norris is a world champion. So hopefully next season's better. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy that next season's a new regulation change, so we don't have to see Lando Norris in the top again. Yeah, rhyming accidentally. Bomb. That's it. That's it, man. Go, Lando. Go win your championship.
Gustia, anything you want to say?
Yes, for Lando Norris, the last 2 races have vindicated and validated why you are a worthy world champion, and you've shown that you have the pace to win world titles. But recently, you have the mentality, and I'm going to put you in an exclusive camp. Now You See Me is out this week. You're part of the 4 horsemen of drivers on the grid that will be world champions heading into next season. So, Lando Norris, kudos to you. And I think in Vegas next week, you will only expand your lead. And in Qatar, you will officially confirm that you are a deserving world champion.
Yeah, I can't lie to you. Next week is looking peak. Next race is looking peak. I can't lie to you. It's literally almost sealed. If Lando Norris is perfect next weekend, as the next race, we could be talking about that championship being sealed in Qatar.
Yeah.
Unless shit
miracles happen. Unless a miracle happens.
Miracles happen, and Verstappen goes like a mad 2 races and wins it. But I don't see it happening. I see Norris just sealing it in Vegas or either in Qatar. If not, probably in the last race of the year when it's 25 points. When it's close. But regardless, Lando's got the next.
A repeat of last year.
Pretty much. Even Ferrari were just about pulling it back, but Lando Norris wins the last race of the year to seal the constructors for McLaren.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, Ferrari we came so close, but yet so far. But unlucky.
Oh yeah, can I add one more thing? This was a couple.
Guys, please say everything. Please say all your last points.
Okay, I got 3 points. First of all, it's not 4 horsemen. He's the fourth. He's the 4th musketeer, the one no one cares about if he wins a world title. just let you know. 3 musketeers, real world champions, and the fake one. Yeah. As for congratulations to Racing Bulls and my rookie of the year, Isaac Hadjar, getting points again, doing what he needs to do for the Racing Bulls to get that 6th position. And one final thing, this is one of the worst weekends for Ferrari in terms of their chance of finishing 2nd in the constructors, because both of their cars got taken out, meaning they got 0 points this weekend. And it's unfortunate because I think their cars were quick enough to get podiums, and
Facts, I agree.
I think this is going to be the first time we see. I think even has Lewis had a podium this year? I don't think he has had the podium
He
this year.
has. He has. I think he has.
No,
Has
he
he?
has not.
Obviously, you don't count sprint races, but he
But
has.
King, he has not. I can
Yeah,
confirm.
so
no race
Almost have
we're
one.
looking.
Well, Lando
looking-
Norris championship.
Yeah, we're looking at one of the very few rare seasons
Also,
where
Nico Hulkenberg podium.
where,
in,
Land, where Lewis Hamilton doesn't have a podium this season. I think.
Fair enough. All points said.
And last thing, Oliver Behrman, nice.
Isaac Hadjar as well.
Yeah, I already mentioned him. I mentioned the Racing Bulls,
And-
doing what they need
and-
to do to get 6th place.
And Esteban Ocon, decent race for him as well, even if he wasn't amazing. It's still a decent race for Ocon.
W. Ollie Behrman.
Because he gained 15.
P4 and a piece back to back.
Remember, he gained 15 places at one point, Esteban Ocon.
Oh, not Esteban Ocon. He's like one of the worst French drivers on the grid. He is the worst French driver on the grid. Gasly was 10th, and the real French driver, Isaac Hadjar, was 8th. Tell me about Ocon. When Isaac Hadjar, the Badger, le Frenchman, oui, Hadjar. Hadjar is the best driver on the grid. Yeah. Future world champion, Isaac Hadjar. Remember the name. Anyway.
On that note, that's the show. That's the F1.
Brilliant show.
People. Brilliant show, lads. And subscribe to King's channel. The link's in the description of the video. King will be back in a couple hours with me for the NBA show, so guys, tune into that. And also, I'd just like to add real quick. Premier League show will just be in about half an hour. People are just gonna push it back just a little bit. But big up to everyone in the chat. Liverpool Prophet will be there. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to GK. I'm sure he has. I see he has a channel as well. Subscribe to GK. And both King's links are in the description of the video, guys. We're 7 subs away from 500. We're getting ever so closer. Let's keep subscribing. Keep getting there. Hit the like button. 15 likes on the video on your way out. And big up everyone who's tuned in. We're out. Take care, people. Peace.